Everyone in town had heard stories about the mysterious mansion on the hill, the one owned by a powerful millionaire who rarely showed his face. But what really caught people's attention was the rumor that his daughter had never been seen. Outside, not once. No school, no friends, no outings. Just hidden away behind tall gates and thick curtains. Most people assumed she was sick or simply shy. But one person didn't buy it: the gardener. He was new to the job, just hired to tend the massive estate's gardens. Quiet and careful, he kept to himself, but something about the house didn't sit right with him. There was a strange silence that hung in the air, and he couldn't shake the feeling that someone was always watching. Every now and then, he'd catch a shadow moving behind an upstairs window. And one day, while trimming the hedges near the back of the house, he heard something that stopped him in his tracks. Soft, almost desperate voice. The gardener didn't know what to think. Was someone calling for help? Was it just his imagination? The next day, he returned with a plan. He would get closer, find out the truth. He knew he was risking his job or worse, but he couldn't walk away without knowing what was really going on inside that house. What he discovered next left him frozen. And he knew he had only one chance to act before it was too late. The gardener couldn't shake the voice he heard. It was faint, but filled with emotion, like someone who hadn't spoken freely in a long time. The next morning, he arrived. Early, pretending to be focused on a patch of weeds near the back wall. But his eyes kept drifting up to the window where he thought the sound had come from. That's when he saw her. A pale face pressed against the glass, watching him. She didn't wave or smile, just stared. It lasted only a few seconds before the curtain quickly snapped shut. He asked one of the housekeepers about the girl, trying not to sound too curious. She went quiet and muttered something about strict rules and how the boss didn't like questions. That only made him more uneasy. Why would someone with so much money keep their own daughter locked away? She didn't look sick. She looked lonely. Over the next few days, he noticed more things. Tray of untouched food left outside her door, a lock that didn't belong on a bedroom, and diary page stuck in a bush near the back of the property written in messy handwriting that read, "I just want to see the sky." That was the moment he knew this wasn't just about privacy. Something was very wrong. He started planning carefully, knowing he had to find a way inside without getting caught. But he wasn't the only one watching. The mansion held more secrets than he ever imagined. That night, the gardener couldn't sleep. The girl's eyes, the note, the silence, it all kept running through his mind. He thought about his own daughter, the same age, always laughing and playing in the park. The contrast haunted him. The next day, he returned with a small plan. He left a note tucked under the edge of the flower pot nearest her window. It simply said, "Are you okay?" He didn't know if she'd see it, or if it would even matter. But the next morning, it was gone. In its place was a folded reply. "No. Please help." Now, he knew for sure. She wasn't just lonely, she was trapped. Meanwhile, strange things started happening. Security cameras were repositioned. A guard who never spoke to him before began watching him closely. And one of the older maids quietly warned him to stop asking questions. "You don't know what you're getting into," she whispered. That only made him more determined, through whispers and bits of overheard conversation. He began piecing together that the millionaire father wasn't just controlling, he was paranoid. Some said the girl reminded him of someone he lost. Others claimed he believed the outside world was too dangerous for her. Either way, the mansion had become her prison. What scared the gardener most was the sudden disappearance of the maid who had warned him. She was just gone. No one spoke about it. No one asked. He knew then if he didn't move fast, the girl might disappear too. The gardener's hands shook as he watered the roses near the east wing. Closer to her window than ever before, he'd hidden a small walkie-talkie behind the bushes, tuning it to a quiet channel. Slipping another one into a bundle of folded towels, he left it where she could reach it through the cracked window. If she found it, they could finally talk. But just as he stepped away, a black car pulled up the driveway. Two men in dark suits stepped out, ones he hadn't seen before. They didn't speak to anyone, just went straight into the house. Months later, all the blinds upstairs slammed shut. The air around the mansion shifted. Even the staff walked a little faster, avoided eye contact. Whatever was happening inside, it wasn't normal. That night, he stayed near the property, watching from the woods behind the garden shed. The lights upstairs flickered on and off. He swore he heard raised voices. Then, through the walkie-talkie, a soft crackle. A voice, hers, whispering. Asterisk, they said, I'm leaving tomorrow. Somewhere far, I don't want to go. Asterisk, his heart pounded. This was it. She was being moved. Maybe hidden somewhere no one would ever find her. He didn't know where or why, but there was no more time. He had one night to figure out a way in. Suddenly, the mansion's back door creaked open. A shadow slipped out and paused, scanning the grounds. Was it her or someone sent to stop him? He held his breath, then stepped forward. As the gardener stepped forward, the figure by the door froze. A beam from the porch light hit just enough to reveal her face. It wasn't the girl. It was the housekeeper who had warned him days before, the one everyone thought had disappeared. Her eyes were wide with urgency as she motioned for him to stay low and follow her. Confused but desperate for answers, he obeyed. She led him behind the tool shed, where her voice trembled as she whispered, Asterisk, they're not just moving her. They're covering everything up. The men who came today aren't from any agency. They're private, paid to make people disappear. Asterisk, he could hardly process what she was saying. It sounded too big, too dark. But the fear in her voice was real. She had been hiding in the basement for days. She said ever since she overheard a conversation between the father and the men in suits. They said the girl remembers too much, she added. She wasn't always locked away. Something happened years ago. And now they think she'll talk. His mind reeled. So the girl had a past no one knew about, one her father was desperate to erase. This wasn't about being overprotective. It was about control, about secrets. Suddenly, they heard a sharp sound. A branch snapping behind them. Oh, someone was there. The gardener turned, heart racing, but saw nothing in the dark. Then the walkie-talkie buzzed again, her voice barely a whisper. Asterisk, they're coming. Please don't leave me. Asterisk, he tightened his grip. Time was running out. The gardener didn't wait another second. With the housekeeper leading the way, he slipped through a side entrance she had once used during deliveries. The halls were dark and still, except for the faint hum of voices upstairs. He followed the sound, heart pounding, until they reached the locked door at the end of the hallway. The girl was behind it. He used a key the housekeeper had kept hidden. All this time, as the door creaked open, the girl stood frozen, shocked to see someone other than the usual guards. Her eyes filled with tears the moment she recognized him. You came, she whispered. They didn't have time for words. Footsteps echoed from the stairwell. The gardener scooped her into his arms and nodded at the housekeeper. Together, they took the back passage through the kitchen and out into the garden. The black car was gone, but someone had noticed. A shout rang out behind them, and the chase began. Through the maze of hedges and across the dirt path, they ran until they reached the edge of the estate. And just when they thought they were safe, a single figure stepped out from the trees, her father, calm, cold, and holding a phone. You've ruined everything, he said. But before he could call, the girl did something no one expected. She pulled out the hidden walkie-talkie and spoke clearly. "This is Emily. My name is Emily Carson. I've been held here against my will." A second later, police sirens wailed in the distance. The sirens grew louder, flashing lights piercing through the trees as the police cars rolled up the driveway. The millionaire took a step back, realizing too late that the truth he'd hidden for so long was finally out. Officers rushed in, and within minutes, Emily was surrounded by people who weren't there to control her but to protect her. The gardener stood close, watching as she finally stepped beyond the estate walls for the first time in years, breathing in the open air like it was something entirely new. The housekeeper came forward, explaining everything to the authorities how Emily had once witnessed something years ago, something her father didn't want anyone to know. Instead of facing the truth, he locked her away, convincing the world it was for her safety. But the gardener's quiet bravery and a single whispered voice over a walkie-talkie had changed everything. In the weeks that followed, the story spread fast. Millionaire's daughter rescued from hidden captivity made headlines across the internet. People were shocked, but more importantly, they were moved. Emily was finally placed with extended family who welcomed her with open arms. The gardener returned to his modest home, never once asking for credit. When a reporter asked him why he risked everything, he simply said, "Asterisk, because no one deserves to be forgotten."